Good evening. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Cedric Wood. I've got a great new list for you today. I just created it. I wish I'd been taught this list years ago. I've never seen anybody make this list, and yet it is absolutely important for all parents to know. It's the list of what not to do when you're communicating with your child. You could call it 6 communication mistakes that parents make. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1 is when parents communicate with a child that is so harsh that it becomes verbal abuse. There is so much shame. John Bradshaw calls it toxic shame, that the child starts, his heart, her soul starts to wither and withdraw. It's so shocking. It's so harsh. And in virtually every case, this is happening because mom or dad had childhood abuse of their own. And they never really went to see a therapist or went to see speakers to learn about it so that they could start to heal and undo their own toxic shame they have inside of them that they carry in their wounded inner child. You'll recognize some of this terminology as coming from the great John Bradshaw. Read any of his books, go online to find out what they are. So number 1 mistake is this harsh, ridiculing, shaming, verbally and emotionally abusive communication style. Please don't do that. That damages the child and may affect him or her for the rest of their life. Mistake number 2, it's when you're trying to do a good job as a parent and giving the child structure. This is something that's necessary and required. What is structure? It is rules. It is boundaries. It is limits. It is expectations. And it's consequences for when you don't follow the rules or follow through with expectations. And when they don't, of course, they need to be talked to. You shouldn't be a permissive parent. That's not effective, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But so many parents will jump on a child with such harsh verbiage, again, shaming and toxic, when they try to correct the child and get them to do something right. They feel like they're doing the right thing because they know that good parenting is having this structure and doing what is accepted in the world of psychology as socialization. Don't do that out in public. Act this way. And so that's a good goal to have. But how you go about it is so important. Please read up in parenting books on how to communicate with a child when you're trying to give them structure. What's mistake number 3? Mistake number 3 is inspired by the great psychiatrist R.D. Laing. He talked about it in a chapter in a book from 1965. And he talks about how parents will interact with the child in such a way that sends a signal that what you're thinking, hoping, dreaming, feeling, thinking is not right. That's not true. You don't really think that way. It's like second guessing. And this is so damaging to the child because the child is developing a sense of self as they're growing up. I feel this. Mom, Dad, I feel this way. And the right way to respond is, oh, you feel that way. Well, tell me more about that. Or how long have you been feeling that way? Oh, you have an idea. Well, that's interesting. Where did you get that idea? And what would happen if you followed through with that idea? This curious, calm, nurturing question asking is food for the soul of the child. Now, what happens so often when parents try to give structure? Well, is that right? Oh, no, you don't have to worry about that. Oh, don't be scared. These are the kinds of injunctions that Claude Steiner talks about in Scripts People Live. Don't do that. And well-meaning parents think that they're helping their child arrange a more mature mind or a more realistic approach, but they do it too quickly or too harshly. Start off with just being open and interested and curious, And if you can do that, that child will grow up to be a spouse and a parent themselves who can do this as well. And that'll mean so much to that future wife or that future husband. Start the training right now so that they will be healthy in their adult relationships. So beware second guessing and discounting what a child is saying. That's called mystification. Please don't do it. Okay, mistake number 4. It's when parents love their children and they're talkative people and there's so much interesting stuff to talk about Uncle Harry or the neighbor next door or maybe a childhood friend's parent. Guess what Mr. Jones was caught doing? And this is a 5-year-old or even a 10-year-old, and you're giving them too much adult kind of information. That's not good. A child should be innocent. That's a mistake to bring that adult information into that child's mind. They're busy thinking about dolls and video games and toys on the floor. They're not ready to hear those adult behaviors, which are maybe even toxic to talk about that in front of them. So don't do that. And along those same lines is talking about the other parent. A lot of parents are divorced, and so they talk about their child's other parent, and they'll become disagreeable and disparaging of the other parent. This hurts the heart of the child. I guess we could call that the fifth type of poor communication of parents with their children. So don't speak a negative word about the child's other parent. Okay, the next one, I guess we'll call this the 6th one. And this is going to the bottom of the 4 quadrants of my poor parenting, and that it's the lack of encouraging a child to do the right thing. Good parents are aware of this idea of structure, and they talk to their child appropriately about it. But this mistake that a lot of parents make is they don't talk to their child. They don't set boundaries and limits and enact consequences. This is what happened in the tragic case of Ethan Couch, right here in our area, in the Fort Worth area. Ethan Couch was a teenager whose parents were off doing this, and they weren't really spending time together, and mom was very coddling and permissive, and she wanted to keep her child safe from, feeling hurt, so she didn't set boundaries. So when he misbehaved, she just let it go. What was the result of that? He was allowed to live in another house by himself and drink what he wants. So he gets behind the wheel of a pickup with friends in the back, and he's cruising down the highway drunk. And he plows into a group of Good Samaritans who were helping somebody with a disabled car on the side of the road. Plows into them and kills 4 of them. What a tragedy. And we don't often hear about the friend who was in the back of the pickup who lived, but he became a quadriplegic for the rest of his life. So really 5 people lost their lives that night. Why? Because mom and dad forgot that they were parents and needed to talk to their child about, again, the rules and the limits and the boundaries and what's going to happen if you don't follow these rules. And of course, if you do, the rewards. That's good, healthy communication. So I guess I've come to 7 in all. Isn't that fun to create new lists? And this 7th thing is, again, the absence of saying something to the child. And this is something that we hardly ever hear about. But it is something so many parents don't do. And it's not good for the healthy development of the child. And that is just talking about the child's hopes and dreams and wishes and memories and thoughts and regrets. As you do this, the child feels attended to and tuned into. There's a psychologist on the internet, Dr. Venice, I think her name is, who focuses on this childhood neglect where parents don't tune in to the child's, again, thoughts and feelings, hopes and dreams. Just take 30 minutes or an hour and sit back and just say, what have you been thinking about? What do you dream of being when you grow up? What do you think junior high is going to be like? Have you ever heard about what junior high is like? Do you think you'll do well? Do you think you'll be interested in any extracurricular activities? Oh, that's interesting. Parents consistently fail to have those kind of conversations, which are so important. I had one man to come see me who had been abused as a child, and he wore the abuse on his sleeves, literally on his arm, skulls and bones and naked women on his arms. Where did that come from? He revealed that he had been sexually molested, not by one, but two people as a child. His parents were divorced. Why didn't you tell your mother? Oh, she was busy with her boyfriend, her new husband, and the kids and her job. Okay, but you went over to dad's. Why didn't you tell your dad? Oh, I don't know. He never asked, so I never told him. Dad never sat down and said, son, how are you doing? Tell me all about your life. Tell me about how things are going well. Tell me about how things are not going well. Something scary, something upsetting. Anything going on? A lot of dads, very nice, say, how you doing, son? The son says, okay, good. We'll keep up the good grades. And they walk off to their job. Well, it turns out that this young man had moved far away from home, and his father had too, right up the street here in Dallas. I said, let's get your dad in here. Let's have that conversation now. He said, okay. The dad came in, and with a heavy heart and a few tears, that 35-year-old shared finally with his father what had happened to him as a child. The father was wonderful. He said, son, I did not know that was going on. I'm so sorry that happened to him. So that father was virtually perfect in his love and concern and activities with his son, absence of abuse, enacting appropriate structure, except for one flaw. And that is that number 7 type of communication, having a sit-down chat about the child's heart and soul. Thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. I am Dr. Cedric Wood. Please tune in next time right here on my YouTube channel. Bye for now.